This mansion in Hamilton looks glorious from the outside, but on the inside, the place is a chaotic construction zone. Whoa! The country's 5 most inept amateur builders are struggling to prove they're better than each other.
Hold! There were flying out everywhere. Last time. Unreal.
To see who's worst, they're turning the ground floor of this property into a boutique-style hotel.
Water off, please!
Guests are arriving in 8 days, but it feels like the business won't be properly running.
At the end of this program, we're gonna be halfway through the process of turning 5 rooms in this old house into bed and breakfast units. And let me tell you, at the beginning of this process, I was pessimistic, but now I'm completely frightened. This is Canada's worst handyman.
When the final nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman walked into our rehabilitation center 3 episodes ago, they had no idea they would be creating their own unique bed and breakfast rooms.
I believe it'll be a special room.
That's Joe. He's dangerous.
Dangerous, man. I'm Joey the Bullet Barbero, and my sister Rita nominated me for Canada's Worst Handyman.
When he was like old enough to crawl around, he would knock pictures off the wall, take the broom, knock things off. I think he was just a destroyer.
That's probably why I can't fix things. I like to wreck them, I guess.
When Joe named his theme room on day 1, his own tattoo of the devil provided the inspiration.
No mercy. Yeah, my room's gonna be the no mercy room. This is no mercy, baby.
Joe's violent theme clashes with his neighbors.
Serenity room.
Serenity.
I need serenity.
Charmaine was made a worst handyman candidate by Tina, her daughter.
So your theme for this room is?
Serenity.
This is the Serenity room.
Yeah, it's gonna be very serene.
The work Charmaine's doing
That's totally pissing me off.
is far from peaceful.
Son of a...
More obscene than serene
I don't know what the I'm doing.
is Desmond. He was brought to rehab by his very tolerant wife, Jenny.
If you try and go under
about you
it
just
so it's the
shut up
side
for a
of
minute?
it, then you don't have such a
You want
mess.
to get down here and do it?
Not really.
Shut up.
It's my right as your wife.
Shut up.
You shut up.
At the rehabilitation center,
Before you say anything, shut up.
Desmond is trying to create a tropical paradise room.
You want to try it?
No, I'm just
Then
saying.
shut your hole.
But if this is paradise,
Do it then.
I'm trying to shut it.
I don't want to go.
Go. Great.
I'm good.
Do it.
Let me finish what I was saying. You
The next candidate, Casey, is here to prove to his wife, Marnie, that he's not Canada's worst handyman.
I don't care if I come second. I don't care if I come third. I just have to beat one. And if I can beat one, then my wife will have to eat her words for the rest of our lives.
Speaking of eating,
Calling this room the chocolate vanilla room.
and I'm calling Casey the person most likely to hurt himself.
Get off her, 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 Casey, get off her.
The final room
We're gonna call it the pinup room.
belongs to Tex from Nova Scotia. He's here with Tara, his artistic wife. Tara is the one painting the pinup girls,
Now, where's the bucket? Where's the bucket? Give me another bucket. Make it quick. Make it quick.
and Tex is the one at serious risk of being named Canada's worst handyman.
Ow! That's hot.
Having a hole in your floor is an expensive, dangerous eyesore. In fact, the only good that could possibly come from having a hole in your floor is if you want to make a short comedic film. The next challenge for Canada's worst handyman is to fix the hole in their floor.
To understand how to do this four-step job,
You're going to take your skill saw and you're going to cut along the joist in the middle of it.
you need to understand that joists are what hold your floor up. Our building expert, Jeff Woodmansey, knows that. He's upstairs right now, cutting along the tops of the joists in his own room. Step 2 of patching a hole is cutting cleanly from joist to joist. Then Jeff cuts a patch and screws it down. That's it. Jeff's hole is completely patched in 17 minutes. Jeff's working partner here at the rehab center is our design expert, Joe Alcorn.
Work triangle is 3 points. You have your fridge, your stove, and your sink.
When Jeff and Joe aren't demonstrating or teaching,
setting the depth of the blade, and it is on the motor side of the tool.
They're helping me decide which handyman deserves the title worst.
I think he's really thinking about his designs now.
You agree?
No, I don't agree.
Apparently, Joe didn't retain any information from the 2 power saw classes he attended.
Don't start, Rita.
Joe can't learn in class, but if he can't start learning from his mistakes, he's going to wind up with a hole in the floor and himself.
Come on. Man.
Repeating the same action while hoping for a different result
Skill saw stuck.
used to be a definition of insanity. To sink a saw, press the shoe against the cutting surface. Then spin the blade and slowly lever the saw in place. From there, it's straight ahead cutting. For this job, the blade needs to be set deep enough to slice through the subfloor, but not so deep it cuts through the joist.
I didn't cut this deep enough, not at all.
I don't think it really matters how deep it is.
Look at this, I didn't even cut it deep enough.
Charmaine certainly cut her hole long and wide enough.
I'll teach you to be a floor.
Charmaine's cut should only be this big. Replacing all this is pointless.
What would a smart person do?
A smart person in Casey's situation would realize he actually doesn't need to cut back to the joists. Casey's original subfloor was, at some point in the history of the house, covered with this new floor. All he has to do now is cut a new piece to fit. But Casey wants to cut a sheet of plywood in half first.
Your idea of cutting a bigger piece to handle it and then cutting a piece out of the piece you cut, that's wasting time, wasting time, wasting time. Measure what you need, cut it, move on.
I have to trace it because of this angle right here. So I have to cut.
No, you have to measure it.
And I'm going to trace it so I can bring it here and cut it. I can't get that plywood.
I don't know if the tracing is the part where I'm lost. What does that mean? You're going to trace it.
Well,
You can't trace it here. It's not like a piece of paper that you're going to fold it into this location.
you're right. No, that's a good point.
Just draw it out and cut it.
Desmond also has a double thick floor.
There's multiple layers of plywood, and what he did was he just removed the top layer.
To fill it, he needs one of those things with the teeth.
Yeah, I'll get the... Where's my actual big silver wobbly?
When Desmond tracks down his tools,
How do you lose all your pencils?
Where'd the tape measure go?
he cuts out a new floor piece,
Oh, that wasn't sounding good.
then screws it to the original subfloor.
Easiest task ever.
Ever.
No, you're just becoming better.
Desmond's floor is worth smiling about. When we come back, the whole challenge finishes and the mirror challenge begins.
I want you to tell me what to do, and
I just said, grab another mirror and I'm going to show
The nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman are each trying to fix a hole in their floor. Joe the Bullet has been picking away at his hole for so long, it's becoming grossly enlarged. Casey's hole is still playing mind games with him.
I have something in my mind that's being done wrong, but I'm not sure if it's wrong.
And Charmaine's hole
Oh, yeah.
is threatening to consume her daughter Tina.
Get out of there.
You can't stand there?
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's the ceiling of the basement.
Oh, I never even thought of that. You would have went right to the basement floor, you nut.
Tex is attacking this project with his usual gusto.
How's it going? Straight ahead, brother.
Perfect. You're looking good, actually.
When Tex gets his hole cut back to the joists,
Ah.
It's a lot quicker, wasn't it?
No, it's what? Splinter?
Right across the splinter I just got yesterday.
it's ready for a patch.
Perfect.
Piece of cake, nice and neat looking.
Once the screws go in, Tex is
Done.
Give her.
You give her.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
Tex's floor patch does the job.
I miscut a little bit, but it fits. Perfect.
Meanwhile, Casey's patch job is so easy, he's become suspicious of it.
I just keep thinking I'm not doing something right.
There you go.
And you're gonna try and trace out an entire piece of wood. You're done, man.
He's done as soon as 4 screws go in.
I don't know about the screws, though, babe. I'm thinking nails.
Well, he suggested
4 screws. I guess 4 screws would mean 4 screws.
Is it too obvious?
It just seems to me.
Eventually, Casey stops screwing around.
Look at 2 people on it. Solid.
Casey needs confidence.
A little paranoid at times, I think.
Joe's not intimidated by a hole,
Watch this.
but he is outsmarted by it.
Watch this. Give me the normal saw.
What normal
Just
saw?
the hand saw. This I'll cut a little square out and cut it across.
Joe.
Come on.
Joe.
Joe doesn't really have a concept of what's good and what's ridiculous.
It's coming out nice, eh?
After half an hour of violent hacking, Joe opens his hole up so much it's wider than both joists. Charmaine works hard, but not smart. She hasn't exposed enough of this joist's top edge.
There's got to be a way it's going to go in here. You know what? No. Guess what I didn't do right?
What?
What's that going to nail to? I got it. Frig. We have to figure out a solution and fast. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Charmaine's solution is worse than a hole.
You've got 2 different levels here,
I know.
and neither of them
that's
are right.
Right.
Charmaine doesn't get stuff done because she's not on the ball like me.
Without even measuring, Joe cuts off a random piece of plywood.
What the hell are you doing?
I was seeing if we could have got lucky and it would have worked.
Nothing Joe does ever seems to work.
Where did this project go wrong, Joe?
The measurements.
Joe's patch needs patching.
Mirrors. They can change the entire feel of a room. For their next challenge, we're giving Canada's worst handyman 4 mirrors. If hung correctly, all of that glass will give the room added depth. If hung incorrectly, excuse me. If hung incorrectly, who knows what you'll be looking at. Mirrors, let's see it happen.
These mirrors come with instructions that can be understood by people all over the world.
These are picture instructions, no written instructions.
Great.
Okay, so first we need a screwdriver, a pencil, hammer, and a drill.
When we first met Joe, he told us
Pictures are better for me instead of instructions. I need to see it, like, you know what I mean, like visually. And then, you know what I mean, I gotta an idea, you know what I mean? Because I can see it, what's happening. So pictures are definitely better.
But today,
see if you can read the pictures to me.
Joe is lost.
They don't even give you proper directions, man. They don't have words, they just have pictures. Put it the right way around.
These instructions work for you, right? You like pictures better.
Yeah, but these pictures are weird, man.
Well, they are in Swedish.
According to step 4, you should mark, drill, and secure the mirror fasteners.
That's the way it has to be.
Yeah?
Yes, look.
You sure?
Yes. I'm positive I can read pictures, man. Hang on a sec. Why don't we glue it to the back of a piece of plywood?
According to step 1, the first task in this challenge is designing the layout of the mirrors.
We're gonna do 4 across?
I think so. We're putting 4 across.
Okay.
That, and like that.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
To hold the mirrors up,
How the hell do these work?
you have to attach these black fasteners to the wall.
Swedish crap.
This unforgiving Swedish hardware is designed so the mirror's corner rests right here. The big challenge is getting these fasteners on the wall evenly spaced and leveled.
Grab my hammer. Grab my hammer. Grab my hammer.
Getting them to stay on the wall requires screwing them in place. But if your screw isn't hitting a stud, you need to use plastic wall plugs as anchors. To properly insert a wall plug,
No, it doesn't go that way.
drill a hole the same size as the plug.
I was confused by what you meant. You're gonna drill the hole.
Then insert the plug. If the hole is in the right spot, you're done.
Oh, Tina, freaking bloody hell.
This is where their measuring skills and level skills are really needed.
It's just not precise measurement. I mean, it's just not.
Well, that just sucks. Did you get them out with your nails?
Yeah.
Oh, grab another mirror and I'll just kind of show you.
I want you to tell me what to do and I'll see
I
what
just said, grab another mirror and I'm going to show you.
After the break, Casey reflects on a job well done. The nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman are hanging Swedish mirrors in their bed and breakfast rooms.
See if you can read the pictures to me.
This challenge isn't going well for Casey.
I think what you're doing is wrong. Do you want me to just do it?
It's going worse for Desmond.
I would never buy something like this. Never.
And Tex still wishes the simple instructions were in English.
It'd be a lot more better than this Japanese
Swedish.
or Swedish.
Since this challenge began, Charmaine and Tina have been at each other's throats.
I don't like the way you talk to me. You sound like your father belittling, and I don't like it.
Nothing I'm saying comes from a personal thing, though. It's just my perspective of how things are going.
They're going.
Desmond has a problem that a lot of renovators face.
Yeah, look at this.
The walls are warped, and they were before we put the sand paint on. You can see it dips in here, it dips in.
To compensate, Des abandons the suggested hardware.
What a freaking waste of time.
Well, we didn't realize that our walls were so
and looks for a substitute hanging method.
Well, we have glue guns.
No, like I said, you can't glue it because it pops out.
Eventually, Des finds a packet of picture hangers and looks like he has a good grip on the project.
Well, that's thinking outside the box, I'll give you that.
Hold on, I gotta bend up. Bend up.
Yeah.
Thanks for bending these up for me.
4 mirrors. Congratulations.
Desmond had the hardest wall, but he's the first finished.
There is a bit of a fun house kind of effect there, hey?
And if you've had a few drinks, it might be a lot of fun.
Meanwhile, Joe is going backwards. Or should I say, screwing backwards.
You want to try, Rita?
Tex now has all of his hangers in place, but they're slightly out of alignment.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're from the first, you're on the project for sure.
Not unless we just, like, abandon the spot.
Get me off the wall. All right, I get it. Yes, we are wasting time. It's just a big waste of time. How's that, Sam?
When Tex calms down, he's able to figure out where he went wrong.
These things here have to line up with what would be the line of your mirror, I guess. Seems to be working, apparently.
You owe the Swedes an apology.
Well, they're still jerks. Hold this one next, please. 2 more caps, brother.
Yeah!
Taxis. Done.
Tex's quick finish is cause for celebration.
I am so impressed. I'm gonna smoke 10 cigarettes back to back because I have 45 minutes of absolutely free time.
Yeah, baby, yeah! Okay, let's get her done. Like Tex says, let's get the done.
Just a little bit off on these 2 corners.
On which 2 corners? So this one has to come off?
Couldn't you do it gentler so we could have saved it?
Nope.
Casey
There we go.
is relying on his wife, Marnie.
Casey, do you understand where we were going with this? This is what we did last time. So we need to hold it up here.
If you went out of the picture, Marnie, would it get completed?
I'll tell you, Andrew, no.
I'd want support.
I wouldn't have done it not properly.
Thanks to Marnie's explanation,
So you understand how this works now?
Yeah.
Casey is done properly.
Another project well done by my wife.
Look at this. I'm so excited.
Instead of kissing his excited wife, Casey plants one on himself.
That's the weirdest pass I've ever seen.
Ding! The final 2 builders are running out of time.
You work at a snail's pace, eh?
Because I don't know what I'm doing now.
Well, holy crap, we did it. We got one up.
1 mirror is nothing to be proud of.
At this point, I'm not even proud of anything in my room, to be honest with you.
That's an hour and a half. You get 1 up.
Yeah, this is weird, though, eh?
Weird would be Joe finishing on time.
Well, in my head, I got it fixated that I'm the best, so you know what I mean? It might be delusional, but I still think I'm the best.
When we first met them in their homes, we asked Canada's worst handyman to make a simple box. They couldn't do it.
So obviously I should have maybe used screws.
Today, we're having the bad handymen show us their progress by making another box. This one should tastefully cover their radiator while letting its heat escape. Should.
To make sure the handymen get this one right, our designer Joe is teaching a lesson.
Okay, so we're gonna learn how to make a radiator box.
First, Joe shows the bad handyman how to use a miter box.
Nice clean angle, right?
This tool will enable them to make perfect 45-degree cuts on the frames of their covers.
Nice and clean. Now you have to think design. What style do you want? It can become, say, a side table, become a bench.
For the bench to not become a sauna, the frame has to be covered with something that allows the heat to escape.
You just have to make sure you have breathing room. That's why you're using the lattice, right? Okay, good luck, guys.
Okay.
As usual,
So,
Des starts by thinking until it hurts. Tex starts without really thinking at all.
Ooh. How come that's so much higher?
And Casey is letting his anxiety overwhelm him.
This could be worse than the plumbing.
No, think positive. This is good.
Okay. Now hang on a sec. This is confusing to me. I'm totally confused. Oh, this one is. I'm in over my head on this one. I'm lost. Entirely lost on this one. Okay, so tell me what to do.
Make 4 legs.
How high?
That's 48.
That wasn't a very good cut, that one, hun.
Meanwhile, Joe the Bullet is making an airtight box.
Watch this. Watch how smart I am.
Joe's plan is to completely seal his radiator in with plywood.
You're gonna have to have a hole in the middle because you're putting lattice in that, eh?
We can put it on the outside, the lattice.
Actually, the lattice is the breathing part of it, like, because you can't just have wood without letting the heat out.
So what do you do, poke holes in it?
Joe doesn't understand the concept.
Does it fit?
Of a breathable box.
Yeah, huh? Then we'll just do a couple side pieces.
Where's the lattice going?
On the outside.
You have to make a hole for the lattice. The lattice isn't just for looking.
Okay,
There's
so I make a hole, and then what does it do?
The lattice covers the hole.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, just the hole?
Like, not just a hole, like a...
Joe tries cutting the large hole, but he doesn't realize that he needs to begin by drilling a small hole. So the saw blade has a place to start. On the other hand, Charmaine
11 and 2 notches.
is doing so well, it's time to introduce her to a brand new power tool, the cordless brad nailer.
So you put that there?
Oh my goodness.
How?
The gun shoots slender, headless nails called brads. Brad nails are used to make discrete joins on fine carpentry.
You are the one and only person who's done.
Charmaine's work style is purely instinctual.
Didn't even have a plan. What?
When we come back, the nominees finish their radiator covers.
What are you doing now, man?
I wanted to flush this, man.
I think you can flush this all right.
The nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman are making covers for their radiators. Casey is still relying on his wife.
How are you going to attach the lattice now?
Gonna nail it on.
Ah, right.
Tex is starting to boil.
Bro,
Oh, no. Okay, wait.
everything
And Joe is confusing his sister.
You know what I mean? Then we're gonna brace that up nice.
No, I don't know anything that you mean.
Yeah, right.
To do this job right, our head designer, Joe, starts with a detailed plan.
And then we have the top part here.
Jeff starts executing that plan by building a frame held together by glue and flat corner brackets. When the lattice gets cleanly cut and attached, the solid top follows. Then trim gets cut in the miter box to go on as, well, trim. Jeff's rad is covered in 48 minutes. Without surprises.
I'm gonna surprise you. I want you to come back in a bit, man. I got this beautiful idea in my head.
Joe's beautiful idea involves using 16 brackets.
How about we don't put that many in, seriously?
Well, that's okay, man. We'll make it strong.
Joe is attaching his brackets with veritable spikes, making his contraption look like a medieval prison.
It's the no mercy room. You get in here and you get no mercy, man.
Trying to hide his screws, Joe demonstrates a truly astounding misunderstanding of physics.
Did it go through?
Barely, because those screws are there.
Give me the hacksaw. Give me the hacksaw. Rita?
Joe is about to understand Newtonian physics, though. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
It's going dull, man.
Wow, I wonder why.
For the next 10 minutes, Joe continues to hacksaw until every tooth on the blade is about to melt.
Okay, we're looking for you to use some common sense. So as soon as you kick that tool into gear, that's what I'm going to be proud of you, tough guy.
All right, cool. What do you say? Want me to go faster?
Desmond is getting hotter than his radiator.
There's no lattice on the sides. No
What are you
lattice.
putting on the side? You can see right through it. Are you gonna do
Board.
fine?
Because we have to remember, yes.
You just take that right out.
It's not getting done.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Yeah, I heard you.
I think somebody's mad at me.
You think?
Desmond's words are cutting, but he's not.
Don't like that.
That's not the easiest way to cut lattice, is it?
No,
You could-
no, I just use a skill saw, nice and easy.
How do you cut lattice?
Casey is still relying on his wife,
So that's not the piece we need.
It's not the piece we need. Okay.
and Tex is starting to annoy his wife.
I can't get nothing done. No wonder I'm not getting anything done.
Okay, shut up and just get it done. And stop your whining and sassing because it's getting ridiculous. Let's just do it and get it done.
Tex doesn't utter another sound until he gets the project done.
It's fully functional. It's ready to go.
Tex's rad cover would be better if his sides weren't covered.
2.5 out of 3 ain't bad.
Tex could be perfect, but he just doesn't want to be.
I think what I've done in my room is satisfactory.
Joe the Bullet is far from perfect.
It's an inch off. We're done. Look at that. That's pretty good. Is that pretty good?
Joe's understanding of good is not good.
I'm most proud of my rad cover. I kicked butt on it.
Desmond is...
Done.
I'd say that's a pass.
Thank you.
Desmond's cover was a fight. Next door to Des, Casey's given up. Casey rarely passes challenges because he rarely finishes.
You know what? I'm tired of the others, actually, getting passes because they finish something.
Because Desmond was recently named
The most improved handyman this episode.
in today's group challenge, he's the foreman.
So, group challenge. Here's what you have to accomplish.
Des has to finish the floor that didn't get done last show, and he has to get 8 cupboards on the wall, 4 of which haven't even been built.
3 hours, no extension. You know what you have to do.
Des starts by getting his 4 builders to each assemble one of the prefab cupboards.
Des, do you think this is the best approach? Just each of us doing our own cupboard?
Yep. Without his wife to help him, Casey is severely intimidated.
Is anybody else scared about this? Like,
Are you scared?
well, a little apprehensive.
You'll be fine, Case.
What are you afraid of, Casey?
Never done it before. We'll see. Marnie usually figures this stuff out for me.
Are you making out, Case? Got any screws in there yet?
After half an hour, Casey's got no screws in there yet.
These are just not lining up the way I thought they would. Maybe I have it upside down or something.
Casey and Joe are both being counterproductive.
So, Joe, are you done?
I did all the directions.
He's done for now.
Yeah.
After the break, Casey shows us he's also in the running for Canada's worst marine biologist.
I've tried the circular saw. I've tried the swordfish.
Swordfish. The reciprocating saw.
Yes.
While the nominees for Canada's worst handyman struggle to make cupboards for their kitchen,
Done. I ran out of parts.
Des moves Casey onto a job he's done before, flooring. But Casey can't get his first piece to fit because at the end of last episode's group challenge,
Oh, boys. No. We gotta rip this back up.
the team pried up a mislaid board. But when it lifted, a strip of wood was left on the bottom, preventing the next piece from fitting correctly.
So we gotta get this whole piece out. How do you think we should do that?
First, Casey needs to remember that the offending wood is stapled in place.
And to my right, that's the other staple that's holding it in.
For some reason, Casey tries to remove the strip with his circular saw.
Whoa.
And then his reciprocating saw.
This doesn't seem right.
The right thing to do is pry this board up and start fresh.
What about the jigsaw?
This can't be right. Tex, what's this thing, do you know?
What? Yeah, it's called a grinder.
Casey finally calls for the
crowbar,
but he's afraid to use it. After a full hour, Casey has literally done nothing.
I tried a pry bar. I tried the circular saw. I tried the swordfish.
Swordfish? The reciprocating saw?
Yes.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to stay sane. So I'm hoping I can count on the cupboard installers to do a good job.
worth about 2 little lines, less than 25.
2 little lines, less than 29.
Yeah.
24
and a half.
And?
2 little lines.
What?
Which is?
24? There's 16ths in there or 8s? In between.
8s.
Well, I count the 8s, and that's what they would be.
1 8, 2 8, 3 8, 4 8, 5 8, 6 8.
How many bad handymen does it take to count?
7.
Lots, because none of us know how to measure.
If Joe could understand the instructions he's pretending to look at, he'd know that to get cupboards on the wall, first you have to install a bracket to the studs.
These look like dominoes.
Rectangular steel plates slide into the brackets.
Right?
Yeah.
The cupboards then get screwed to those steel plates.
She's putting the bracket on first.
Charmaine's bracket is exactly the width of one cupboard. It should run the length of the entire row of cupboards.
Okay, does somebody want to take over this? I'm frustrated beyond belief
Let
right
me up
now.
on that ladder.
Tex takes over as the unofficial foreman, removing Charmaine's short strip
I'm gonna need a square bit too, Des.
and putting up the proper length of hanger.
Where's the level?
Oh yeah, they just work great.
Casey and Joe are supposed to be putting down the floor, but they'd rather stand around with the foreman doing nothing.
Man, I'm supposed to do something.
When Casey kicks into gear, well, he becomes predictably perplexed.
Must be 2 bad pieces in a row, Andrew.
When the flooring team finally reaches the far side of the room, they discover they'll have to deal with Tex's door.
Someone take the door off. Foreman. Yes, what do you want to do with the door? Take it off? Take it off.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do something.
Why don't you just cut the bottom of it, Tex?
What? Well, I would if I had my chainsaw here, but I don't have it, so.
So Tex massacres the hinge for a while. Then Joe beats the door like it owes him money.
It's off.
You guys do know this is a home improvement show, right?
Yeah.
It's all about making things better.
Yeah. I'll be able to get that back together.
With the flooring job just a few boards from completion, Joe and Casey quit to help Tex get the corner cupboard on the wall.
No, that has to go up there.
Well, I know, but...
The steel plates that remain inside the bracket
Ready?
Dandy.
get bolted to another steel plate that's locked inside the cabinet, securing it in place. To lock the boxes to each other,
We should be using a clamp or something.
these Chicago screws are what cabinet makers rely on.
So it's got a head on either side. This is the slot. This is the shaft.
Put them together, it's a small clamp.
Well, they keep these suckers together.
Just use some glue, man.
The cabinets are up, but they're not cinched together, and the doors aren't on.
Installing cabinets. Worth it or not?
No.
No?
No. Being a foreman, yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
When we come back, the experts and I pick this episode's worst handyman.
Charmaine's just getting nothing done.
Before working together on the kitchen, Canada's worst handymen spent this episode fixing holes in their floors,
What's that getting nailed to?
hanging mirrors,
Get the thing off the wall.
and building radiator covers.
Did it go through?
Barely, because those screws are there.
Now it's time for the bad handymen to endure the final inspection of our experts, starting with Tex.
Apparently your mirrors to you are straight, but they're not. And again, I'm still
What do you mean they're not?
They still go on an angle. This one drops, the far one drops down, and they're not centered.
I wasn't too worried about the center. They wanted all 4 mirrors up. They got them up.
Tex's radiator is over-covered.
Being boxed in, we're not going to get any airflow. And the whole purpose of the rad is to work with convection.
I'm trying.
For Casey,
The mirrors are great.
the mirror's success is still exciting.
There's one thing I know, it's mirrors. I know mirrors. I think mirrors are great. Mirrors are great. If it's one thing I know, it's mirrors.
I know Casey should have finished his wallpaper before mounting his mirrors.
So finish the wallpaper first next time.
Well, that's usually how it's done, Casey. Because now, either you have to take the mirrors down, or you have to cut around the mirrors to hang your wallpaper.
Jeff thinks Casey's rad cover is
waste of wood, unfortunately.
But the mirrors are fine.
Des was the most improved handyman last week.
Are you the most improved again this week?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to say.
Des may have a point. His rad cover is fine, and in his room, the floor is covered and his mirrors are mounted, despite having uneven walls.
Yeah, you were thinking outside the box, which is nice.
In Joe the Bullet's room,
Right through.
his floor covering's a hazard.
I didn't build it, I just put a piece of wood on it. But I mean, it's sturdy.
It's sturdier than his radiator cover.
It's a beautiful rad cover, you know what I mean? I like it.
The whole process was painful with the screws coming through and nothing cut square.
And that's the best thing I've ever built. You know what I mean?
I don't understand how this is what you think is the best thing you've done.
Well, in my life, though.
Charmaine wasted time in the group challenge.
Does somebody want to take over this? I'm frustrated beyond belief.
And in her room, the mirrors are a bust, and her floor hole's still a safety hazard.
You got to bring up the subfloors so they're even. Because right now, you're still a layer away.
Even with these brutal evaluations, all of the nominees think they are
Most improved.
Most improved.
Best handyman of this episode.
I have to vote for me on this one.
I could be the most improved.
I should wear the gold toque every day.
It's time to name names.
Worst. Who do you got, Joe?
Worst is Joe.
Jeff disagrees.
Worst, I gotta lean Charmaine's way. She hasn't completed anything. And her rad cover was so flimsy, I didn't see any improvements at all.
You look like you're not buying that.
No.
Charmaine's just getting nothing done. She's just not moving ahead, and she's not grasping the concepts.
I'm not bending at all. It's ridiculous what Joe is actually producing. He's not thinking, he's just throwing materials together and wasting everyone's time.
Today's final meeting begins with the announcement of this episode's most improved handyman.
Joe, why don't you tell me who that person is?
Well, I think it would be me.
Well, I think you would be wrong. It's Casey.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, finally, some good news.
Which brings me to the far sadder story of who was the worst this episode. So, Joe, I'll give you the opportunity again. Who was the worst?
Tex.
No, man. You.
Joe has hung his head in shame before.
You're gonna keep on going until you actually improve.
I'm getting used to doing this, though, so. Oh,
To help Joe learn more,
There you go.
we have a remedial class waiting for him.
We got homework to do.
For extra work, Joe has to disassemble his radiator cover. But he starts by trying to unscrew the brackets using the wrong kind of drill bit.
So maybe we need to change this lesson just so it's a lesson about drill bits.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk drill bits.
All right, cool.
The bit with a square tip is called a Robertson.
Square.
There you go. Square is what?
Roberts?
That's it. Robertson.
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 Squares Robertson.
Square's Robertson.
It's the best, man. I'll be a Robertson before you know it.
On the next episode of Canada's Worst Handyman, the nominees build a closet.
Stall.
They make curtains.
You son of a...
And in the group challenge, Casey will be in charge.
I'm sure Casey will do a fine job as foreman.